Hello again. I'm a bit late on this one, though admittedly that is partially my fault. I've gotten into what I consider a somewhat bad habit where, since it gets so damn hot out here, I literally can't do my fucking laundry until like 6 in the morning, and I thought, I'm not very good at waking up, so I'm just gonna stay up all night. Not a good idea, in the slightest. It is actually a very, very bad idea, and I'm doing that right now. I have the goal of sleep schedule, so I am going to try and shift that to where I effectively just wake up then and do it. But this this strategy is very flawed, and I'm hoping to change it a lot. Anywho, talking about my goals, I have not made up for them at all. Though there is a different approach I would like to take in terms of how I'm going to be doing my goals. I want to start approaching it more from a weekly level than it is a monthly level. I want to report to myself based off of the weeks and not so much based off of the months because weeks are more immediate. And I'm also hoping that if I can make more micro changes, it'll affect the macro level, which is just everyday life or month to month life. So if I can make a change every single day, then it'll probably work out a little better. I can just approach it from a smaller scale. It'll probably work out a little better. Um, I had this after I was writing in my goals for this month, unfortunately. So I can't, I can't exactly, I can't exactly change it, especially since I think I might want to change how I format the journal if I do this. Not even if I do this, when I do this. So I'm gonna I'm gonna try to do that as a plan going forward. Hopefully I remember it. If I feel like there's something I'm forgetting by the end of the month, or if I didn't remind myself properly, I'll come back to this video and watch it. See what exactly I was talking about. Um yeah, I'm in an unhealthy loop where because of how hot it is, I think yeah, staying up is a way better option. Well, one, I don't actually fucking do anything by staying up. The first time I had to do this to stay up and do my laundry, it was still like before I was out of my classes for the rest of my time until next one. I was on break. Um, and I had stuff I needed to do. I had schoolwork I needed to do. And I just didn't do it, which probably a good idea because it probably would have made me fall asleep, but at the same time a lot of the stuff I had to do was recording videos and makeup work, so most of like the heavy lifting of reading was already done because I do make sure that I at the very least do my reading before the week's out. If I'm not going to turn in the work, I got to do the reading, right? I got to learn something while this shit's happening. Can't let it just be a waste of fucking money. And uh, whew, I could have definitely used that time. Instead, I decided to procrastinate and do it all on the final day, which had me finishing up a complete project on the final day. Which I say finishing up, really, I did most of the work. The tiny amount of work I did the day before was figuring out what I wanted to do my project on, as well as maybe gathering a little bit of research and deciding on a template for the poster I wanted to make. And that's it. Whereas if I actually decided to do it at that night and tried to stay awake via that, I probably would have been able to get another really big missing assignment done, which I couldn't get done. I did not fail. I checked, I did not fail this class. I got really fucking close though. So yeah. Yeah. Not super great. I got to turn stuff around for these next ones, and then I'm probably gonna have to take an extra semester for the classes that I failed to make up for it. So, I mean, it already happened. What can I do about it? Just look towards the future and don't be fucking stupid. How about that? That seems pretty reasonable. Um, but yeah, just uh, as far as uh, the more passive stuff like pornography, um, the newer approach is nice. I'm definitely not as stressed when I have to mark down a failure, but I feel like when I felt the expectation to continue a streak like that, it just kind of made things worse in a way because I don't want to do it, but it kind of feels like I'm making a prophecy that's gonna fulfill itself. Uh, that one moment in that one little tidbit in the sociology class about putting expectations on oneself makes you fulfill said prophecy or fail more often, that type of thing. Um, I do still want to. I do still want to make the attempt, obviously, but it is nice to not have to constantly police myself about it and instead just take the time to try and make every individual day its own resistance instead of a sort of larger goal where it's like, well, now I have to do it for 8 days and now I have to do it for 9. And yeah, it helps at least now because I'm focusing a little more on one, since it is the lack of doing something, I'm focusing a lot more on just actually trying to get through the day without it um, instead of oh, if I get through the day, I can mark it in my journal again. I guess there was a sort of anticipation to it, but that anticipation had the drawback of making me feel intensely disappointed and losing a little bit of self worth whenever I did it. I think this more passive approach so far is working pretty well. We'll see how it works later. I think as far as my current streak goes, uh, 2 days, I think, and even then, this is the seventh day, and I started off the month a little rocky. So in reality, I've had like maybe from actually starting to try and abstain, I've had maybe one actual failure, and then I'm gonna just try and go for as long as I can. You know, take it day by day, go gradually, and once I fail, I'll keep a mental note of it. I don't really want to count the days, but I would like to try and keep a mental note of when I last used it. And that's about it. Just when was the last time I used it, and then if that's working for me, I'll continue doing it. Otherwise, probably gonna go back to logging in the journal, having come out of this with just a more valuable experience. I do notice that because I'm approaching it more as an earnest goal that I just kind of have in the background rather than, frankly, my main goal in my journal, it's not nearly as prevalent. When I said how I wanted to forget about it, it actually started to become true. As of recently, I have legitimately started to forget about it. There are uh, there are certain triggers depending on the stimuli that definitely definitely are problematic, but they're not everywhere, so they're easily I can easily avoid them either by just scrolling or not looking at them for more than like a second after my brain processes what information is trying to be conveyed to me. And then where's the pumpkin? There you are. And then Shit, I lost my train of thought because I didn't have the fucking pumpkin. Uh, God. So where was I? Talking about stimuli. It was really easy to avoid, usually because the stimuli is very brief, and I'm not entirely sure why, but it doesn't seem like overly sexual imagery is nearly as effective now. Maybe it's just a little bit extra confidence. Maybe my mindset's just changing a little bit. I'm not entirely sure, but it is uh, it is becoming easier at least. I think if I wanted to make this as easy as possible, I gotta cut that type of stuff out just fully, which honestly shouldn't be that hard. Um, One of the biggest places that I get this type of stuff from is mobile game ads. No matter how much I say I don't want personalized ads, one, they already steal my shit and give me personalized ads in the first place. That's how advertising works. So just get rid of any games that have mandatory ads, which yeah, that's pretty easy. And then I don't usually get the only time I usually get stuff like that on the TV YouTube is just with like perfume advertisements, and even then I clock it as perfume advertisements almost immediately, and it takes me out of the whole thing entirely. I find those things to be annoying as shit, so just the level of annoyance kind of overrides any other feelings that I have, and it actually works as a perfectly effective way of, oh, we're selling sex. I don't care. I fucking hate you. So it's like, it's a great way to override it, so it's not really a problem ever. Um, I already did, yeah, I already did the proper things for Steam, so that's not an issue. A lot of the games I play don't really have any form of sexualized stuff. And when they do, it's oftentimes not nearly as appealing. Cyberpunk, for example, it's not that I don't find any of it attractive. It's more so that within the setting that I try to put myself into it. So within the setting, I find it just a lot easier to resist because that's like normal imagery for the game. It's effectively an entirely different language, and I treat it as such. It's not the exact same as the real world. It's either an exaggerated version or mimicking it to a comedic degree, which I guess is literally the same thing. So yeah, it becomes a lot easier to resist that type of stuff, especially when it comes to fantasy. I think one of my worst triggers is usually when it's supposed to be real, and that kind of gets me bad. I know that because for whatever reason I've been going on a mobile game tirade. There are a lot of these fucking really gross mobile games that use AI imagery that's supposed to look just real enough to get by. I can spot them out because they all have the exact same style and they're incredibly homogenous to the point where I don't even know if that's ever been a real context for any picture at all. And those are pretty big triggers, so yeah, I just got to get rid of the mobile games. Find a better way to keep your hands or even your brain occupied while you uh, listen to a YouTube video or something. In reality, I just got to get rid of the mobile games. I think that's my biggest trigger, and then that's about it. I think. Otherwise, it's not really a problem. I guess the only other observation I have for this week is that I've realized that I've been putting YouTube on in the background a lot more recently than I have been before. I'm not really sure why. Also, apologies to anyone who watches this, and including my future self if you can hear that cricket. That guy has been so fucking loud all night. I went to close my mom's door because she was sleeping. I could hear that motherfucker just as clearly back there as I could here. you'd swear the bass just boosted by getting into the living room, and that's it. It's wild how loud this guy is. But yeah, I've been putting it on in the background. Maybe I just want to drown out the voices. I don't really know. I'm not entirely sure. I do know that it was somewhat of a contributing factor to my procrastination, which, if that's the case, I just gotta be strong. I just gotta be a stronger man and fucking turn that shit off, get to the thing at hand, get what's necessary done, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can go watch Brain Rot for all I fucking care. As long as you're doing everything else you gotta do, who cares, right? It's I don't really find that big of an issue otherwise. It's simply that the only issue I actually have with it is that I am actively choosing not to do something that needs to be done. So I'm gonna I'm gonna do my best to resist that shit because I have no idea what else I'm supposed to do besides just do the absolute best I can and just be better. That's the mission statement of this channel, ain't it? So, anywho, I'm done. I'll see myself next time.